The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 18 NFL preview. Last week of the season before the playoffs, we got our guy Jerry back on the channel to see if he can, top Cam Miggs and get that top spot back in our rankings. But we are doing this video after all the games have been played, and it is halftime of the Chargers game. So we're gonna describe how it goes down here. As you know, the games unfolded today. But before we get into that, Ethan, going into this week, you took a 1-game advantage lead.
Yeah, that was a good week for both of us, man. Other than the Browns pick on Monday night for you, everything it was tied. It was tied. Other than that, but this week we already know Jarrison's not looking like he's gonna get the picks record for this week. But
yeah, tough for Jerry, but
unfortunate.
He's got to beat 13-3, but it's not looking like it's going to happen. But you never know. Some miracles could happen. But we'll start it off here talking about the Chiefs game. Denver played really well with Drew Lock. He played really well, but unfortunately, they just couldn't get it done, and they got Mahomes essentially.
Yep, and the Chiefs clinched the second spot in the AFC playoffs, so good for them. And I think they could beat the Titans on the road. I'll tell you that much. I think they could do it for sure.
They definitely could.
And on Saturday night, I went with the Eagles here. I thought the shorthanded Eagles could, pull it off because I didn't know Dallas was going to play their whole team for 4 quarters. And, the first half was pretty promising. They were only down 13, and then they lost by like 30. So, wasn't really good for my Eagles pick, but the Cowboys are starting to gain momentum heading into the playoffs, and they didn't even have their corners in this game.
Yeah, that was a good game for the Cowboys playing without their corners, like you said. Offense looked really good, scoring 50 some points. I mean, I'll tell you what, the Cowboys have the best backups in the league because they always get to play against them. They always get to play them against their NFC East rivals. So it's not much changing from last week, what we said about the Cowboys, but good win this week.
And Jerry, explain now why you went with the Bengals here.
I thought even with the Chargers that they could pull it off against the Browns with all the problems here, and they got one to just barely get the win.
And then, the Browns, it just seems like they wanted it more, even though they screwed themselves out of a better draft pick. And, the Bengals obviously are going to have everyone at full strength next week. So nothing really to be overreacting about here. But, they did make it at least a competitive game down the stretch. And then you can say the same here about the Packers as well. Rodgers, everyone played in the first half besides Aaron Jones. No point in risking his injury. And they looked good in the first half and even in the second half too. Jordan Love played pretty good. I know it's a weak Detroit defense, but, give the Lions some credit. They still got the win and they still have the number 2 pick. They could have got the number 1 if they would have just lost, but I don't think it really matters,
It doesn't.
Hutchinson or Kevon Thibodeau. I mean, they're the same essentially. 2 great picks.
Not the end of the world.
But Packers obviously have a lot to look forward to. They have the bye, number 1 seed, and the Lions are already looking forward to next year. And Dan Campbell, could really turn the Lions around.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Now going to the next game, we got the Bears and Vikings. Well, we all went with the Vikings. It looked pretty promising for the Bears in the first half, and then Andy Dalton just decided to just turn the ball over, and that's really what hurt them. They also couldn't really stop Kirk Cousins' deep ball. So no playoff inspirationals in this game, but still a good game.
I mean, we had Justin Jefferson just absolutely embarrass Eddie Jackson on the deep ball. Eddie Jackson had no clue where the ball was. So that's just awkward for him, and paying him all that money to just get embarrassed on the last game of the season isn't really a good sign for all the Bears fans. But at least they should have some hope. Nagy will more than likely be fired, and get in a guru that can work with Fields because he is the future for that franchise.
Yeah, that's one good thing you guys got out of this year, which is they found their franchise quarterback, which is more than a lot of teams can say.
And Jerry, we're talking about this game now, and what went through your mind when you took the Giants?
Yeah, man, I took the Giants because it's a divisional game. I figured they play them tough. I mean, Washington really beat the Giants earlier. The Giants would have a chance, but it's a bad game for Bateman.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Fromm attempted to throw, and all of a sudden the ball wasn't there. That's pretty bad.
Giants fans were giving him a little bit of boo action too. That game was ugly.
Definitely didn't watch one highlight from this game except the quick 5-second highlight on TV. Other than that, I didn't see one bit of this game, but I don't think a lot of other people did as well. And now flipping the script, I think everybody saw the result of this game.
Oh, Duval, baby, let's go. Hey, Steelers needed this to happen. Jags needed to beat the Colts, and you know what? They came out there and they played better. I heard a stat today where the Colts haven't beat the Jags on the road in like 5 years, I believe, or the last 5 games. I think they're 0-6 the last 6 games now. So, kind of a crazy stat. If you're a bettor, you would have went with the Jags here, but I mean, none of us did. So.
Yeah. But, giving the Jags some credit, maybe they all need to dress up as clowns, all the fans, when they go to the game, and, they'll pull it out in the long run. But, Jerry, talk about the Ravens and this disappointment of, not just game, but the last 6 weeks, losing by 1-possession games besides the Cincinnati game.
Yeah, I saw most of this one and some of the one against the Rams last week, and it's just been disappointment after just at home. They would have a chance, but unfortunately they just keep losing it. Like, obviously this one, especially against the Steelers, particularly.
Yeah, I want to say you can always blame it on injuries and stuff like that because of the Ravens, but I think just with even Huntley out there, he gave him a chance to win every game. And I think it boils down to coaching decisions, and going for 2 points against the Steelers and the Packers cost them potentially a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you there, but great game. Great way to end the season. If we're really going to talk about headlines, you got to talk about the GOAT kicker and Chris Boswell making that game-winning field goal to win the game, and Ben. I mean, that's a gritty performance the last few weeks, and you just got to give it up for him and his Hall of Fame career. Now, the one thing is that the Steelers do play the Chiefs in the playoffs next week, most likely. That's if the Sunday night game doesn't come in a tie. So, yeah, playoff picks will
suck.
Not crazy.
And then this week, I can speak for all of us here. Titans pretty much, kind of ran away in the first half and then let the Texans back in the second half. But, end of the day, still got the win. Deonta Foreman looks like a solid RB2 backup next year for Henry in case something happens, bearing an injury again. But he should be back because they have the week 1 bye. There's no need to rush him back for the playoffs next week. And, he's looking good. We saw him in practice this week, going through drills, no contact, but I think he's going to be just fine. And they even get all their wide receiver corps healthy as well for the playoffs. So this Titans team, maybe a scary team. And going into Nashville, I don't think it's ever ran through there in a long time.
Yep. And then our next game, we both went with the Falcons, Zach. And Jerry, why'd you go with the Saints here? That was obviously the better pick, but what were you thinking here?
Man, one of the few times I went the right way this week, man. I just felt like the Saints had more to play for. It's not like it hurt. So, Simeon came in and did his thing. And they got to win, man. And playoff contention. We'll see later in this video how that works out, but they did what they had to do. That's what's important. So,
I mean,
unfortunately,
it was bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, they did not make the playoffs though with the Saints victory because the Niners ended up winning. So, kind of a a lucky game for all of us. I'm thinking all of us wanted the Niners to make the playoffs instead of the Saints, just because. I mean, who wants to watch some practice squad players playing in the playoffs? So.
And then this one, I went with the Jets here because I thought last week, played Bucs tough. They've been playing some teams tough these last 3 weeks with Wilson healthy and everyone healthy. Jets could be a sleeper team next year. They add a few pieces here and there. They already have a good draft pick next year. If they hit on a good draft pick, this Jets team could, be around that 500 mark and be contending for a playoff spot. I think Robert Saleh is a great coach. He's got them to play hard through all 60 minutes. But unfortunately in this game, it didn't work as, the Bills just ran away with it literally at the end in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Josh Allen really ran away with it there in that in that fourth quarter. You're right. Bills, nice win though. Jets I'm with you. The Jets could be a sleeper team next year or the year after. You never know. Zach Wilson has looked a lot better as of late, and that's a really good sign for the Jets as well. But back to the Bills, I just think they're one of those teams that they can knock you out. They got a chance in the AFC this year to make some noise and maybe go to a Super Bowl. Never know.
And potentially, bearing the Chargers-Raiders game, this is probably the best game of the week that we saw. Ethan and I both went the Rams here. Unfortunately, they didn't pull it out. Stafford, as usual, throws a pick to, give the other team at least a chance and a win in this case. But I really would like to see these teams match up again in the playoffs. It's probably going to be pretty hard for that to happen unless it's in the NFC Championship if they don't, play each other before then. But, now with the Rams losing, they still luckily got the NFC West title because the Cardinals lost as well. And my kicker just missed in fantasy for the Chargers. So that's a minus point. So that's terrible. But, I'm not really high on any of these NFC West teams because they're so inconsistent. And that's why I think, the Packers and Bucs have a really good shot at, meeting up again in the NFC Championship.
That's kind of a wild take. I think it's not the worst thing you said here. No, I'm just kidding. But I just think the reason why they're all inconsistent, I believe it's because they're all it's the best division in football, in my opinion. You got the Niners, the Rams, Cardinals, and even the worst teams, the Seahawks, which, you got Russell Wilson, so can't be too bad. But with this game, this was a great game. Jerry picked it right on the nose, picking with the Niners.
Heck yeah, man. I've seen the Rams and they play all these games close, and when Stafford keeps throwing picks sooner or later, you're not going to be able to beat these teams. So that's kind of why I went the 49ers, and I knew that they wanted to be in the playoffs. So
and all of us went with the Patriots here. That one didn't really work out for us. They tried to pull it out late, but it was just too little too late. But it realistically didn't matter. Seeding wise, yes, it's going to matter, but I don't think they're really too concerned with that because I didn't think they figured of coming in and having a home playoff game. But Mac Jones did look a little better, as I was saying. They're opening up the playbook. He's airing it out, and they're starting to become more two-dimensional, not one-dimensional, just run heavy, little screens. So I think in the playoffs, it's going to come down to Mac Jones and if he can complete those medium to long passes. And we're going to see, next week.
Yeah. And what spot are the Patriots in right now in the AFC playoffs, like in the seeding?
Right now, they are the 5. Unless the Raiders win, then they are the 6, I believe.
Gotcha. So they'll be playing against most likely the Bengals, or is that whatever? We'll see when the matchups come out, but yeah, that could be a good matchup.
Yeah, I don't think it's
yeah, it might not be, but anyway, back to this game. Really good game by the Dolphins, jumping out ahead 17-0, and really didn't take their foot off the gas. I know it was a really good game, but Dolphins just outplayed them. And congrats on it was a good season for the Dolphins. So tip your cap to them a little bit, and we'll see the Pats in the playoffs. So
And Jerry, I know you've been high on the Cardinals here. That's why I know you went with them here. But all of us, I think we just went with it because they want to win the NFC West. And I can speak for all of us. They played their hearts out, scoring 30 points, but that defense is what's going to kill them in the playoffs. They just announced that I saw on the screen Monday night. They play the Rams in LA, divisional matchup, first round. And, you're going against the Rams team that also just put up 24, 27. So the Cardinals defense is going to need to get their stuff together. I know they got J.J. Watt coming back for next week, but, that secondary is kind of lacking, especially against a good Rams receiving core. So that's definitely going to be something the Cardinals are going to have to, fix going into that game.
Yeah, I agree. They just coasted in the playoffs. It seems like, to put it lightly. So after I don't know what he was doing. Tried to kick the ball and just missed it. I don't know. That was a place yesterday for the Cardinals, man.
Yeah.
And well, we kind of all saw this one coming. First half was a little sketchy, but the Bucs did the Bucs thing and Tom Brady did his thing. Breaking Jameis Winston's record for most passing yards as a Buc in a season. Mike Evans absolutely carrying this wide receiving core with Godwin out and AB obviously on the streets in New York. So who had to step up? And of course it's Gronk. Having a huge day. I know it's the Panthers and their defense hasn't really been anything this year, but it's just good to see that Gronk still got it in him. And this Bucs team, next week they play Sunday at 1 p.m. Perfect time for them. Seems like they're always on at 1 p.m. at home against the Eagles. I'm expecting Bucs to be pretty favored here. Yeah. And Ethan, talk about this one here.
So last Sunday night game, Chargers Raiders win and you're in. All that has to happen is it can't end in a tie, and then everything else just sets into place. Me and you went with the Chargers here. We're sitting here, and I believe the third quarter just started. So really good first half, I thought. Chargers, So I'm going with the Chargers. I think they're gonna win this game, play a better second half. Penalties are gonna kill them though. You saw that pass interference at the end of the half. If they can chill out on the penalties, then they should be in good shape to win this one.
I mean, Jerry, you're looking good right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling good. Raiders are up 17-14. Chargers just got the ball back. But, I mean,
so we better
play any type of ball.
But I think
I'm scared this is going to end in time.
I think the main reason I went with the Chargers here is Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
top 5 quarterback this year in all stats. Passing yards. The only thing that scares me if they do win this game and go into the playoffs is his interceptions. It feels like he's almost guaranteed to throw at least one a game, and you can't really have that, especially against these top tier defenses. So he's gonna have to have clean games if they want to win a playoff game. But Ethan, wrap it up for us here.
Jerry, we really appreciate it. I know you're not going to get the leaderboard this year, but I mean, you never know. We'll probably have guests here in the playoffs. And next year, of course, you're always invited back. So really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man.
But until next week, man, for our predictions for the playoffs. So make sure you guys are staying tuned for that. Until then, Bench Buddies are out. Peace.
She never called back.